Hey guys, this is part 2 of the midterm exam review. So let's go ahead and get started. Number 23 says, what is the value of -2 times the absolute value of x plus 3 when x is equal to -8? So we have an expression, we're given an x value. To find the value of the expression, we need to substitute -8 in for x. So we have -2 times the absolute value of x, but x is -8, plus 3. Well, order of operations says we do our grouping symbols first. We do -2 times the absolute value of -8 plus 3. -8 plus 3 is -5. Absolute value of -5 is 5, so you have 2 times 5, which is -10. Number 24, we have to graph the linear inequality. -2y is less than 6x minus 2. Well, we can't graph this equation the way it is, but we can graph an equation that looks like y equals mx plus b. So we want to get this inequality to look like that. So we need to solve for y. Well, to do that, we have to divide everything by -2. -2's on the left cancel out, and we're left with y. And since we divided by a negative number, it is now greater than -3x plus 1. My starting point of this line is +1. And since my slope is -3, I can go down 3 and to the right 1 to make sure I have a downhill line. Do that again, down 3 to the right 1, down 3 to the right 1. Or I could have gone up 3 and to the left 1. Up 3 and to the left 1. Now I need to draw my line. Since we have a greater than, just a greater than, my line is going to be dashed or dotted because my line is not part of my solution. So I have a dashed or dotted line. Now I need to show the rest of my solution, and I have y is greater than -3x plus 1, so I need to show where the y values are greater than my line, which will be above, so I shade above my line. And just to make sure, to check, you can always use a test point. Remember, a good test point to use is 0, 0, and in this case, since 0, 0 is not in our solution area, when you substitute it in, you will not get a true inequality. Alright, the next problem says we need to simplify -2 times the quantity of x plus 3 plus 4 times the quantity of x minus 1. Here we have another distributor property problem. So I need to distribute all of -2 to the x and to the 3. -2 times x is -2x, and -2 times 3 is -6. Now I also need to distribute the 4 to the x and to all of -1. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times -1 is -4. So I have -2x minus 6 plus 4x minus 4. Combine like terms. -2x and 4x gives me -2x. And -6 minus and a -4. So -6 and -4 gives me -10. So my final solution is -2x minus 10. For the next problem, we're going to complete the table to test whether the expressions 2 minus 3 times the quantity of x plus 1 and -3x plus -1 seem to be equivalent. So to do that, I'm going to take my x values and substitute them in to my expression. And then I'm going to look at whatever I get here, and that'll tell me whether or not these expressions are equivalent. So when you substitute in a negative 2, you will get 5 and 5. When you substitute in a negative 1, you get 2 and 2. You substitute in 0, you get negative 1, negative 1. When you substitute in a 2, you get negative 7, negative 7. And when you substitute in a 3, you get negative 10 and negative 10. Now, we were trying to figure out whether or not these expressions seem to be equivalent. And yes, they are. And they're equivalent because the expressions have the same value, same values rather, for each x value. So they are equivalent expressions. For the next two problems, we're going to use the expression negative x plus 3 minus x. And we're going to evaluate the expression for each value of x and complete the table at the right. So we're given some x values. We need to substitute those into the expression to find out those values. We're given negative 2. When we substitute in negative 2, you will get a 7. When you substitute in negative 1, you will get a 5. Substitute in a 1, you get 1. And when you substitute in a 2, you get negative 1. And we're going to use the ordered pairs from that table, and we're going to graph them on this coordinate grid. So I need to graph negative 2, 7. So I go to the left 2, then up 7. It's supposed to be right here. Then I need to go to graph negative 1, 5. I go to the left 1, up 5. Putting me right there. I need to graph 1, 1, so I go over 1, up 1, putting me right here. And then I have over 2 and down 1 right here. And then I can connect those, giving me a nice, not like that, a nice line. For number 23, we have a table that indicates the number of books Lauren read during several months last year. We're going to create a scatter plot of the data. So we're given months and the number of books. If we take a month and then the number of books read, that is a point, so we can plot each of those points. So I can plot 1, 13, so over 1, up 13. I can plot a point at 2, 6. I can plot a point at 3, 10. I can plot a point at 4, 4. I can plot a point at 5, 5. And a point at 6, 9. So there's my scatter plot. For the next problem I have an equation to solve. I have negative 3x plus 5 equals negative 25. I need to solve for x. So to do that, I'll undo what's happening to x using the reverse order of operations. So that tells me I should subtract 5 first from both sides. 5's cancel. I have negative 3x equals negative 25 minus 5, which is negative 30. Divide both sides by negative 3. And I get x is equal to 10. The next one I have negative 19 equals negative 3x minus 1. Solve this by adding 1 first. 1's cancel out. And I have negative 18 equal to negative 3x. Divide both sides by negative 3. And I get x is equal to 6. Now, both of these, we can check our solution by substituting the x value back into the original equation. And if it is correct, we will get a true statement. And if it is incorrect, we get a false statement. And you have to go back and check your solution. Number 3, we're going to graph all the solutions of 6m plus 7 is greater than negative 11. To do that, we need to solve the inequality for m. So my first step to do that is to subtract 7 from both sides. And I get 6m is greater than negative 18. Divide both sides by 6. And I get m is greater than negative 3. Now I need to graph all my solutions on the number line. So if I have negative 3 here, it means I have negative 2, negative 1, 0, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, and so on. I have a open circle because we have just a greater than at negative 3. And since I'm looking for the m values greater than negative 3, I will shade to the right. Now it says that Karen learned 20 new Spanish verbs in June. She promised herself she would learn 5 new verbs each week after that. Make a scatter plot showing the total number of verbs she will have learned after each of the next 4 weeks. Well, we know that she started with 20 and that she increased by 5 each week. So that gives us an expression of 20 plus 5 times the number of verbs she will learn. Or so, I'm sorry, 5 times the number of weeks. So we'll use this expression to find out how many verbs she learns. And I need to do that for 4 weeks. So I have 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 4 weeks. Substitute each of these values into my expression. And after 1 week, she will have learned 25 verbs. After 2 weeks, she will have learned 30. After 3 weeks, she will have learned 35. After 4 weeks, she will have learned 40. Now we need to make a scatter plot with this information, so I just need to plot my points. So I have a point at 125, so I have to go over 1, up 25. I have another point at 230, so over 2, up 30. A point at 335, so over 3, up 35. And over 4, up 40. So there's my scatter plot. Next problem, I have an inequality to solve, so I need to solve 1/4 x minus 5.3 is greater than or equal to negative 18. I'm going to solve this just like a normal inequality. So I'm going to add 5.3 first to both sides. 5.3's on the left cancel out. And I have 1/4 x is greater than or equal to negative 8 plus 5.3, which is negative 2.7. So I have 1/4 x is greater than or equal to negative 2.7. Since 1/4 is multiplying x, to get rid of it, I have to divide by 1/4. But we know dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4 over 1. My 4 over 1 and my 1/4 are going to cancel out. I'm left with x is greater than or equal to negative 2.7 times 4 over 1. So just negative 2.7 times 4, which is negative 10.8. Number 12, we have a graph that is supposed to show the solution set for 9x plus 13 is greater than or equal to negative 5. We have to explain what is wrong with the graph. So let's take a look at our inequality. 9x plus 13 is greater than or equal to negative 5. Let's go ahead and solve that inequality for x. So subtract 13 from both sides. I get 9x is greater than or equal to negative 18. Divide both sides by 9. And I get x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So I'm supposed to have a point at negative 2, but since it is a greater than or equal to, my point should be closed. So we should have a closed circle. But other than that, we have a greater than that's shaded to the right, so it should be good. So we just fill in that circle, we'll be good to go. Number 18 says that Katrina needs to make 270 favors for her sister's wedding. If she can make 15 favors per hour and already has 60 of them, how many hours more will it take her to complete the task? So to do this, we're going to write an equation. We know that she needs to make 270, so that's what she needs to be equal to. She needs to get to that. And we already know that she has 60 made, and she's going to increase that by 15 for every hour that she's working on them. So we just need to solve this equation for h. We'll do that by subtracting 60 on both sides. 60's on the right cancel out, and I have 210 is equal to 15h. Divide both sides by 15, and you get h is equal to 14 hours. Number 21, we're simplifying. Negative 3 times the quantity of x plus 5 minus 2 times the quantity of 2x plus 1. Again, distributive property. I'm going to distribute all of negative 3 to x, giving me negative 3x, and to positive 5, giving me negative 15. And I'm going to distribute all of negative 2 to 2x, giving me negative 4x, and all of negative 2 to 1, giving me negative 2. Combine like terms, negative 3x and a negative 4x is a negative 7x. We have a negative 15 and negative 2, which is negative 17. The CD player originally selling for $120 is on sale for 15% off. We need to find the sale price. So this is a percent problem. We're starting with $120, and since it is the discount, we're going to pay 100% minus the sale. So 100% minus the 15%, or 1 minus 0.15. Go ahead and type that in your calculator. You're going to get $102. Number 2, we're simplifying the expression. Negative 1 to the power of 3 times negative 5 plus 2 times 7 minus 8. This is a simple order of operation, a PEMDAS problem. So I need to take care of my exponent first. So negative 1 to the power of 3 is negative 1. Then I'm going to go ahead and do some multiplication inside my parentheses, give me negative 5 plus 14. Then minus 8 at the end. Go ahead and do what is inside my parentheses. So negative 5 plus 14 is 9. So I have negative 1 times 9 minus 8. Negative 1 times 9 is negative 9. Minus 8. And negative 9 minus 8 is negative 17. So that finishes up part 2 of the midterm review. So we're getting closer. Tune in tomorrow for the next video.